Hey folks, it's me, Mary Keelan speaking. So as was promised, here's my end of year, beginning of 2019 review and projections. So it's getting a little late. It's about 8:10 here. I have to get going soon. Back to the bump and grind. 2018 was a pretty good year. If I look at it in a holistic kind of way, I mean, I had ups and downs like everybody else, and not everything got done, but I think it was a pretty good year all the same. Um, Let's start with the downs, I suppose. I took up gardening again this year, hoping to grow some home vegetables. So we had a horrible year this year. It was very arid and hot all summer, so that was a dismal failure. So the year got off to a bad start. I'm also discovering that you can't just plant things in the ground like our ancestors used to do. So I'll be looking into the hydroponic and the grow light thing soon, next week or so. So hoping to do a better job of it this year, growing from seed. I have the gardening catalog and my seeds piled up, so I might get another go at it for the third year. Um, Apart from that, let me see. Frankly, I think my health has been pretty good. If I look at it, I mean, I've been diabetic for, geez, 47 years now, something like that. So my health is pretty good. Uh, Also, if I look at it, my basic appearance has been pretty. It's been getting better. People have noticed that I've lost weight, which is generally a good thing, unless I have Ebola or something like that. So yeah, I think that all of that stuff is pretty positive as far as I can see. I've had problems with fatigue, but that's just me. Me and sleep don't get along. Never really have. And I run pretty hard, so I mean, eventually I drop. Um, and then music. Music is the big one as far as I'm concerned. Music really went well this year. I had a good year with. Oh, that's my little monster. I have another addition to the family. Oscar now has his nephew living with us, so Oscar Peterson and Louis Prima are living in my house. Mm. And musically, it was a good year this year. I can't complain. Not everything got done. Obviously, my album was not released in 2018 as I had planned. Money is what it is. I don't crowdfund anything. I'm the real DIY kind of guy. I fund myself, and I have no sponsors of any sort. So it'll come out when it comes out. And frankly, it's not a big problem for me. The album is recorded. It's mixed. It's ready to go. It just has to be mastered, pressed, and released. It'll be done on vinyl because that's the way I want to do things. And it's my intellectual property, and it's not a flavor of the month pop thing, so it doesn't really matter when I release it. It'll get released when I feel like it, in the form that I want. Had a good year with L'Espion, l'Univers de Pagliaro, which was a Michel Pagliaro tribute. Had a good year. I think that we made top dollar wherever we went. We played in decent places. We made a promo kit. We did a live video, professionally done, that was good. And it was just a very, very saleable product. I ended up leaving the project partway through the year, but I ended off the year with them on December 15th, came back for one more show. And we'll see what 2019 brings. Like I said, I get along well with the guys. We all get along well. We make good music together. That's the main thing. But, as far as tributes go, I mean, tributes, as far as I'm concerned, are, they're cash cows. No matter whether you love the artist or not, you're supposed to make money when you're in a tribute. So I think we did well on that front. I was in charge of the booking for the first part of the year. Did my best to put together a professional press kit. Didn't really get a lot of takers. I don't know if it was the cash we were demanding that was the problem, or people didn't believe in the subject matter, or whether it was just unprofessionalism on the part of bookers and club owners. We weren't booked as much as I had hoped we were going to be, and that's just something I'll have to suck up and learn something from. Failures are fine as long as you learn something from them and you come out smarter and better and stronger. So on that point, I'll have to take that failure on me because I took it under my uh, power to get that done, and it didn't work. Um, on the jam front, I mean, I go to jam nights on a regular basis. Sometimes we play covers, sometimes we get to improvise, and I think it was a good year. So I actually played more this year than I have in the past years, whether they were legitimate gigs, paying gigs, or just jam nights and improv. I played an awful lot this year by my standards. I didn't do as much studio time, and of course the improv thing I really love. We'll get into that later, but if I can improvise, we do freestyle, R&B, hard rock stuff, prog, whatever it is. I love doing it all, or jazz fusion stuff, funk. I love all of it. I just love music, so and I love flying without a net. I'm one of those idiots that likes to jump off tall buildings with no net. So, meh, that's just me, shits and giggles. Um, Apart from that, let me see. On the recording front, yeah, I didn't do as much studio work this year as I did the previous year. It got off to a flying start with Suki. We were supposed to record an album in his studio east of Montreal. We went in and we did 2 or 3 songs. I was involved with writing. I sang some vocals on it. I recorded on his material, played some guitar, played bass, and it just kind of hit a dead spot at one point. So that's been put on an indefinite hiatus. Like I said, no burned bridges there. I still get along well with the guys. I'd love to do something with Pierre Michaud as well, the drummer. We've been talking about doing stuff, and so we got what we got done, and that was about it. And I've been talking to Joe Herrera, my old pal at Drunken Fiddler Studios, and he wants to get back into it too. I mean, he was into bitcoins for a while, and he just called me up right before the holidays and said to me, "Hey, man, let's get together and get some work done." He has an electronic kit, so yeah, that's all good. I'm out. Sorry, that's Louis. That's Louis with his toy. He has an electronic kit, so we're gonna get it done however we can get it done. I mean, like I said, music is just music. It's a very pliable thing. It's bendy as far as I'm concerned. Doesn't matter how you get it done. So 2019, I finished off, at a jam night yesterday on the 30th, and I'll be back at it again on Thursday, I think, this week. And we don't stop, y'all. I mean, it's you want to keep moving, you keep moving. Uh, Whether somebody hands you a gig or not, I mean, it doesn't matter to me. I like brick walls. Tough noggin. uh, I have definite plans this year that I'd like to put into action. Some of them are already started. I mean, like I said, I write on a regular basis. I have 2 of them. I mean, there's an 80s musical review I'd like to get done. I'd like to do drums, bass, keyboard, and female singer, and put something together like that. Hopefully play happy hours and 5 à 8, as we call them here in Quebec. I would love to be do more jam band stuff, government mule type stuff, or Medeski Martin and Wood, or what have you. The power trio, things based around the power trio. That's really, I love doing that. And there's another concept album that I'm working on. I have to get the players in place. Another sort of weird thing, it's not that I hate guitars, but when I write, there's just no room for them. But yeah, and I mean, there are lots of things I'd like to do. I'd like to record more, whether it's backing up female singers, whether it's doing folk stuff. I mean, there are always going to be certain types of music that I don't particularly like. I'm not into new metal. I don't really dig hip hop for a lot of the content and the fact that I like some hip hop. I like songs like California Lovin' and songs that are musical, but for the most part, I don't hear a lot of music in hip hop. And I think if I were to approach it, I'd probably take a page out of Art Blakey's, playbook and say, okay, well, here's old school meets new school, and let's make something of it, rather than trying to, squeeze myself into a little tube and make myself accessible. Um, yeah. Apart from that, I mean, frankly, I have plans every single day, as far as music goes, and there'll be more music coming your way this upcoming year in 2019. And yeah, that's about it for now. And I think I'm taking care of my cats. That's a big part of my life. They're my family now. So my little one is a real pain in the butt. Yeah, but I'm lucky. They really get along well together. Um, Oscar has sort of adopted his nephew, and I'm sort of like their godfather, I suppose. I cook their food every day now. I really care about my boys. So that's about that for now, because I'm gonna have to get going quick. But the year of end review was a positive one, except for a few hiccups, things I would have done better. And like I said, 2019 is started as far as I'm concerned. It got started in 2018. That's the way I get things done. Just going to keep moving. So now, questions from the internet, from anti-social media. I only got 2 people that asked me questions, and none of them were really about my music, but I will do my best to answer these questions as well as I can. Probably gonna have to grab a bass at one point. So we'll start with the first one. From Marie Takahashi, who's asking for a friend. The first question is, is wearing a mask, a dress, and singing into an orange dildo considered art? Asking for a friend. So let's see now. I don't have a problem with performance art of any type, but all I can say is that if your product is based on shock value, and basically the only thing you want to do is have people talk about you for the ass that you are, No, it's not art. I mean, I just got back from seeing a few weeks ago seeing the Vincent Van Gogh film. I can't remember the name now. Something into eternity. Anyway, with Willem Dafoe, who did a great job. Just can't remember the name. You know, Vincent Van Gogh is a guy that suffered for his friggin' art. I mean, he was mad. I mean, everybody knew it. He had a problem. I have a problem with people making an ass of themselves and calling it art. Uh, I mean, I've done enough making of an ass of myself over the years. I've done enough improv and fallen on my face enough times, you know, and tried things that didn't work. But I mean, I just have a problem with people delegitimizing what they do. Not everything has to be a goddamn shit show. And I mean, you know, unless you want to compare yourself to a guy like Gigi Allen, you know, a guy who went out and you know, with the big part of his show was spreading fecal material on himself, and he had a drummer who would you know, demand money to shove a certain number of drumsticks up his friggin' rectum or have the other person do it. You know, that's performance shart as far as I'm concerned. So the answer to that question is, in this case, no. I know who you're talking about. The answer is no. That's not art. That's either fart or shart, and I'm not impressed. So no, not art. We'll go to the next question from Ed McGuire. Ed McGuire is a good man. Ed McGuire came to one of my bass hangs here in Montreal. He's from New York, New Jersey, one or the other. Like Ed a lot, big Ed. Played violin. He plays violin, and he's a legit musician. Are there different scale? Oh, this one I'll have to get my bass for. Hold on a minute. All right, we'll get the bass. And I'm coming back. Try not to step on the kitten. Right. Okay. Are there different? What's the first one? Right back. Are there different scales for transgenders? Or in this case, I suppose you're talking about the online community of LG, MEP, LMNOP, Y the fuck, and sometimes G. Refer to Jordan Peterson on that one, and the University of Toronto. So, are there different scales for transgenders? How can I make my music more accessible or inclusive so that no one will picket outside my house? Yes, that's a good thing. Yes, picketing outside the house is definitely a no-no. Different scales. Yes, apparently, from what I've seen in the past, and I know lots of gay people, by the way, they don't bother me at all. You know, like I said, it's not where you put your wee-wee, your ZZ, or your pee-pee, as long as you don't stick it in me. And I don't really care what your orientation is, but your lifestyle sometimes gets on my friggin' nerves. I mean, you know, honestly, you have people that have the plaintive whine and the sissy thing. I mean, people think that I'm picking on gays when I say sissies. I'm talking about sissies. You know, a lot of these guys are married, middle-aged white men, you know, with their friggin' social justice warrior buddies, and frankly, I'm not impressed. You know, I put my big friggin' ugly mug out there and allow people to punch it, you know, so I'm not impressed by your little warfare online. Uh, so yes, there are scales for these people. It's called a one-note scale. And what it is basically what you need to do is you take the instrument of your choice, and what you'll do is you will play one note with as much whine in it and as much drama-rama. You're going to try and annoy it and play it as loud as you can because, frankly, you want everybody to be, have to deal with this. So what you do basically is you play one note. As long as it sounds like you're crying, you'll be fine to go. It's called the sissy scale. Enjoy. Now, back to Marie. Marie Takahashi with her friend again. Is it the same friend? We don't know. Maybe she has many friends. We don't know. Marie Takahashi. What? WTF? What the fuck? Is the point of having 17 custom Federas if all you do is make noise and play... I'll play with zero attendance, yes. I'm guilty of this, of course, because I've been known to show up to improv gigs with many pedals. Sometimes my pedal board was bigger than my amp. Also, I've showed up with an F bass, a Warwick, Ken Smith, all kinds of different basses. So, I mean, I'm sort of guilty of this right now. And making noise, I'm good at making noise too. Here's the problem I have with this once again. First of all, if you have 17 Federas, what the hell is the point? I mean, I have 17 basses probably. But the thing is, I want one of each. It's kind of like Noah's Ark. I mean, suppose you come into a gig and the guy says, do you have a vintage jazz bass? Oh, sure. I mean, Whereas if you have 17 Federas, well, what the hell are you going to do? You have one Federa as far as I'm concerned. And, I mean, frankly, unless it's a status thing, you're trying to show off your assets, I don't get the point of having 17 Federas. And making noise with the pedals, once again, I don't know. I usually try to step on one at a time. Stepping on all the pedals at the same time is pretty much the same as having a 3-year-old stick his pecker in the fan. It might be cute the first time, but the 17th time, not so funny. So no. And if you have zero attendance, frankly, that's something you probably want to look at too. Zero attendance happens. I mean, no matter how good you are. But frankly, I mean, if you constantly draw zero people and you call yourself a musical genius and you once again call this art and make that an excuse for not doing well, I don't get it. I just don't. I mean, I was involved with a band called the Clandestine CIA, the Clandestine Improvisation Association, which I was able to book at clubs across Montreal. I played Peinture en Direct at Foufoune Electric 4 years running, and we improvised everything, and nobody ever accused it of being noise. And in fact, in a lot of cases, they'd come up and ask what the second song was. We'd have to tell them that there was no song. It just got made up on the spot. So frankly, that's the point that I'm making. You can be as weird as you like, and you can be as elitist as you like, but the fact of the matter is that if you're making noise, you're not making music as far as I'm concerned, and it's not art. Once again, sorry. Right. Ed McGuire. Are there special chords to use for people that chop off their ding-dong? Yes and no. First of all, I suggest you don't chop off your ding-dong unless it's really a lifestyle choice because, that stuff doesn't grow back. Obviously, your ding-dong is an important thing to you and probably someone else. Special chords for the ding-dongs are not. Well, I'll bring up a certain point here. If you've ever seen a picture of Jimi Hendrix back in the day, this is not a guitar, but it's a bass. But he used to play like a D, and he used to stick a G in, with his thumb. Well, we thought it was his thumb. So basically, what I'm going to show you here is that basically there are chords that you can't play if you have no ding dong. Because Jimi Hendrix, what you think is, we actually think it was his thumb, but it wasn't his thumb. Jimi Hendrix had an extremely long prehensile penis, which kind of makes sense when you look at the photos because he always had this face on when he's using, when you'd see his thumb. So basically what it was is, and I'll demonstrate with the 7th chord. So if you look at it there, it's a 3-note triad, which you can play this way. This is the proper way. Whereas if you have a prehensile penis like Jimi Hendrix, you can actually use your penis to play this. No penis, like this. Penis, like this. So there you go. Special chord, the 7th chord. Penis or not. And the last question we have here, Marie Takahashi. Oh, here's another one. I won't need the bass for this one. On a cuck scale of 0 to 10, how cucky is it for a man to change his last name to the wife's hashtag because male feminist? Good point, Marie. And frankly, I mean, once again, I can sign in on this because here in the province of Quebec, women keep their last names and the children come out with a hyphen name. They get the female's last name and the male's last name, so they get 2 last names. Also in Latin America, there are places in Latin America where it's the custom for the children to take the mother's name after the father's name. So you get the father's last name and then the mother's name, no hyphen. That being said, if your point in life is to delegitimize yourself to the point of making yourself subservient to your wife, I think that there's a bit of a problem going on here. Once again, I believe in equals. The same thing with the gay community. Between homophobe and homophile, there's a great ocean of people that just want things to be equal for everybody. You don't have to put anybody up on a pedestal. So if you're going to go out and change your last name and make a point of it, showing people that you're more or less whatever than they are, no, I'm not impressed for one. I mean, frankly, my mother kept her last name. My father had his last name. I have my father's last name because that's the sort of the culture that I identify with. I mean, I was raised by my grandparents for the most part, and my last name is Yulin. It is what it is. I see myself as being, an offshoot of them. Not that I, dislike my mother's family, but I just don't identify with them. My name is not Duquette. My name is Yulin. So, like I said, if you're willing to go that far to make a point, make yourself sexier to your wife, whatever the hell it is, I don't get it. I mean, and if you want to look at the amount of money that's going into 50 Shades of Grey, it's not men putting that money in there. It's women that are watching the movies and buying the books. So you can ask yourself how well your little sissy lifestyle is doing, and I think it's not doing well at all. And here's another thing. I mean, I talk on a regular basis to women in their 20s. I'm not one of those dicks online that's trying to pick them up all the time. I'm actually, trying to figure out whether they're eating properly and how they're feeling and, what's new with them. A lot of these women are attractive, and it's funny when you get down to the nitty gritty of it, they don't want feminized men. They don't. I don't know what it is about it, but they're just not getting off on it. So I mean, I think that masculine men are not a thing of the past. If you want to make it a thing of the past, that's your problem. But don't look at me to be accepting of you. I mean, Frank, at this point, it's another shit show. I'm not impressed, and you're going to have to deal with the aftermath when you find yourself alone, or or whatever, stomped to death in about 15 years. Good luck. I mean, your wife will beat you up at this point. Good luck, you bud. So that's about that. Now that I'm done with all the toxic bits, I do want to wish everybody a happy 2019. I hope 2018 was good. Please don't whine. Please don't cry. And please don't be a goddamn sissy. Would you please, let's try and make social media a more sociable place and a little accepting of others. I don't want to hear any more shit about the Donald. I don't want to hear any more shit about Justin. Those guys were elected to do a job. And frankly, I think that your life is up to you to run. And I'd like to see people be a little bit more civil to each other and show a little bit more open-mindedness, the real deal. Okay? So that's about that. Be well, folks, and I will talk to you at some point. Probably, I'll probably do another video at some point. I generally do the year-end thing, and that's about that. And if I do if I'm talking a little bit, it's not booze, it's fatigue. Trust me. We don't stop, y'all. I'm telling you, we go, go, go. That's all, folks. Be well, and I'll talk to you soon. Thanks. Bye.